Approximately 3 decades went by without any reports from Iran about UFOs in their airspace. Then, in 2004, strange aircraft were once again encountered by the Iranian Air Force. At this time, Iran was still using a few F-14 Tomcats that they'd purchased from America before the revolution. The Iranian military used the Tomcats to protect their nuclear facilities. Considered one of the most successful fighter jets ever built, its speed, maneuverability, and weapon capabilities make it an aircraft to be feared and respected. The encounter in 2004 went something like this. An alarm was raised when the unidentified flying object was picked up on radar. The UFO entered the airspace above one of Iran's nuclear facilities. Fighter pilots ran to their jets. Mechanics shouted at one another as they prepared planes for takeoff. The pilots were secured in the cockpits by the support crew and the hatch was sealed. The only contact with the outside world was through their helmet. Pure oxygen was being pumped into the face mask to keep them alert. Over their comms, head military personnel were barking orders. An attack on our nuclear facilities could be incoming. We need planes in the air now, the commander shouted. The Iranian pilots flickered the afterburner switch on the engine controls. The F-14 Tomcats accelerated off the runway and into the black sky as flames shot out of the back of their jet engines. As they reached Mach 2, the sonic booms could be heard throughout the desert below. The Iranian military launched 8 F-14s, 8 F-4 Phantoms, and 2 large reconnaissance aircraft to intercept the UFO. The task force encountered objects that they'd claimed had astonishing flight characteristics. One of the F-14 Tomcats tried to lock on to the brightly shining objects, only to have his radar disrupted. The pilot who was tracking the object described it as being spherical and having a green afterburn. It was recorded that whatever engines were producing the green aura were leaving considerable amounts of turbulence behind them. It was like flying through a lightning storm. The plane shook and convulsed uncontrollably. The task force swung out of the turbulent wake of the UFO and tried to flank it from the sides. Before they could get into position, the spherical object shot off like a comet, leaving a tail of green light behind as it exited the atmosphere. The eerie glow was ingrained into the minds of the pilots who were in the task force that day. The Iranian Air Force remained on high alert for any further UFO activity after the 2004 event. Then, in 2012, another strange phenomena occurred. A UFO was spotted in Iranian airspace. It did not show up on radar at first, but then all of a sudden a blip appeared. It was like the ship was cloaked and had just appeared out of thin air. The military scrambled to the F-14s and pursued the vessel, but then tragedy struck. As one of the F-14s took off, it exploded in midair. The aircraft was consumed in a fireball. The smoldering metal fell from the sky and landed in the sands below. Some accounts claim that the UFO attacked the F-14 right after it took off, perhaps using laser beams or a highly advanced weapon that ignited the fuel in the plane's tanks. Both of the crewmen in the plane were killed instantly. Reports by the Iranian government seem to suggest that the UFO had something to do with the mishap, but it's unclear the role the unidentified aircraft played in the catastrophe. Other F-14s flew after the unidentified object. Every time they tried to get a lock on the UFO, their armament systems would malfunction. The dull green light of their screens would appear to be working perfectly one moment, and as soon as a lock was achieved, everything went black. The pilots would try rebooting the systems mid-flight, but nothing seemed to work. The UFO quickly outpaced the F-14 Tomcats as it reached Mach 10, a speed faster than any aircraft currently produced can fly. It was almost like the UFO was toying with the F-14s. With the afterburners, the Tomcats pursued their enemy at a top speed of just over Mach 2. This is 1,534 miles per hour. The encounter ended similarly to the one in 2004. The UFO shot out of the atmosphere with a glowing tail of exhaust behind it.